Well, well, well. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. How are we doing today, man? What's up? It is officially week one of the NFL season, Monday, September 5th. We are just days away from the first game of the season. 49ers, Bears. What's up, everybody? What's up, Eric? What's up, AJ Howard? What is up, everybody? Hit that like button. Let's get into it, man. We got some stuff to talk about. What's up, Riley? What's up, Arnav? What is up, Joshua Lopez? What's up, everybody in the chat? Say what's up. Hit the like button. I'm excited. Week one. Oh my God. And we got some things to talk about. We signed some practice squad players. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of stuff going on, right? I can't even believe Justin Fields. He wants a little bit of revenge against the Niners, right? Per his receiver Darnell Mooney. We posted that this weekend. Man, it's just gonna be an insane weekend next week. First game of the year, and the vibes are always insane. They're always up. They're always hyper. They're always hyper, right? And then you got Nick Bosa coming into his own. I'm just so ready for Niner football. I think I got a guest coming in, so bear with me here. We got boy. Let's see. I think we got Smitty coming in. Let's see. Let's invite Smitty to the show. What's good, my man? Well, he's got a little black screen, so we'll wait for a second. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We're gonna talk about team
What's up?
captain. What's up, man? How you doing, Smitty? Where you at?
We're driving to get food. We're driving to get food, of course.
Of course.
So
Where you getting from today?
you wouldn't know the place. I think it's a local place, but it's like a little sandwich shop. Little sandwich.
Let's go, man. My man Matthew
Okay.
says he's going this weekend for his bachelor party. Well, congrats to you. Enjoy the bachelor party. 49ers faithful says made it worse for them by stating it's a revenge game. Defense about to eat. Yeah, we're gonna let's talk about that first. So you've probably heard the news already. Darnell Mooney, Bears wide receiver. He put a lot of hype on Justin Fields, and he says, I think he's gonna go out there and try to get some revenge. Basically, he wants to, go out there and make this a little personal, and especially week one against the Niners, because the Niners were a team that passed up on Justin Fields. Last year the whole draft hype was crazy. You remember that? It was Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and that's when you became Justin Fields' agent. You told everybody that the Niners were getting Justin Fields, but
Trey Lance.
or
Trey Lance.
Lance instead of Justin Fields when everybody was hyping up Justin Fields, including myself. This is a crazy game. This is the first game of Trey Lance's career as the clear-cut quarterback one. The Trey Lance era is officially upon us. And then you have Justin Fields, who played some games last year. Like, this is the marquee matchup. Do you see this becoming the big rivalry in sports now? What do you think?
I mean, that'll be a big rivalry for you guys. But I mean, I think ultimately what matters is if the defense shows up, if you guys are healthy. And I think you guys kind of dominate this game. But I mean, honestly, a turnover could change everything. Like if that offensive line is spotty and you guys let Trey get leveled and he fumbles the ball and the Bears pick it up and run it in for a touchdown at 7-0 Chicago, and then Trey's behind the eight ball. I mean, that's a scenario I can see happening. So the Niners have to block. You guys got to freaking show up. Everybody's got to be healthy. Injuries are my biggest concern. You guys have no depth on the line, so everybody's got to stay healthy. That's the key component of this season. Because if everybody stays healthy, you guys are going to be underdogs, and I think you're going to continuously show up. But injury concerns are such a big that's a big concern for me. But past that, man, I'm excited. I think Trey's going to ball out. This rivalry will be pretty good. But Fields isn't there yet. I think he looks good at times, but his offense isn't going to be. Trey's got 10 times the offensive weaponry than Fields does. So Fields is going to have to do a whole lot more by himself.
Yeah, you're right. Like he's gonna have to create, and we see this. We saw this last year. The Bears. It's a whole different story though because they had a different coaching staff, different regime. Like it was just a different vibe. You know what I mean? And now it's a whole different offense. So it's not like Justin Fields is just gonna go out there and be ready to dominate because he's still learning a new system. Right? Last year they had Matt Nagy, and yeah, his team was in shambles. Obviously, he should be better from those reps and the time he spent playing. But I mean, he's still a young quarterback. I know he's going to come out there with a chip on his shoulder. He's a cocky guy. He always has been. I mean, Justin Fields has a lot to go out there, and for him to say, "Oh yeah," it really wasn't him, but Darnell Mooney to say, "Yeah, Justin Fields wants to go get revenge." He's putting a lot on the plate for the Niners defense. This Niners defense is no joke. Nick Bosa is coming in, probably going to be Defensive Player of the Year, candidate. You got Fred Warner. You got a just tough secondary, a very dominating defense. Last year, they were one of the best teams in the NFL defensively, and they didn't even have that great of a secondary, especially early on with Josh Norman and stuff. Adds fire to the fuel, bulletin board material. It's the stuff that we love to hear about early on the season, kind of fuel the team. But yeah, Justin Fields isn't going to go out there and light it up. Yeah, if he, has these thoughts against the Niners defense. But last year, it was a close game. Justin Fields played pretty well. He had some big highlights. Like they kept replaying that stupid highlight where he ran it in, So he's got ability. He's got skills. I think he's a good quarterback. Obviously last year during draft season, I was hyping up Justin Fields. This is a big game, though, because now he's getting to go up against Trey Lance, and there's been a lot of scrutiny. We'll get to that a little bit later, too. But I don't know. This is a big marquee matchup. I hope it becomes like a big rivalry. I want them both to do good. I was high on both guys last year. I want them both to do well because I remember last year we were sitting here and it was like, just don't get Mac Jones. You can get Justin Fields or Trey Lance. And then it was the debate who was it going to be between those two. I'm just excited for this game. I hope it's a really fun, entertaining game. But defenses are going to come out strong on this team, on both teams.
Yeah, I think, and I love how much emphasis people put on preseason. Like you don't have all your weapons. Twos are going against ones sometimes. Ones are going against twos. With the 3 games of this in the preseason now, no one knows what's going on with like playing time. And so you have a mismatch of teams doing different strategies. So the fact that anybody comes out of the preseason like with a set, oh, this is how it looks, this is how it's going to be. The Niners are very thin, like I just said. Your depth is not like super strong. So like if not everybody's not on the field, you're going to look very different than when everybody's on the field. So again, depth is a concern, but when everyone's on the field, you guys are going to look so far superior than you did in that preseason game. So I'm not worried about it. It was a bad preseason game. Everybody left week 3 of the preseason saying that was the worst preseason game they've ever seen. But again, it's like you had a lot of missing pieces. You had a lot of things that weren't lined up. I think you guys come out hungry. I like that you're being doubted. I like that Trey's still being doubted. And I think it's only going to make the climb a lot more satisfying for Niner fans too. Like, how much better can it be any better than being an underdog coming in? Like last year, what you guys did was crazy. You were flying high at the end of the year. I counted you out. Everybody counted you out. You're at, what was your record at one point? It was 3 and what?
3-5, man. Like everybody dogged us. Everybody thought, season's over. It's tough, and they turned it around. And it was the Chicago game that turned it around. It was that game against Chicago where it was kind of, maybe they have something. They can get on a roll. But this was a springboard game for the rest of the season. I think they fed off this type of energy. You had Deebo Samuel kind of became that super. Like he was playing really good, but when he put the team on his back and kind of took over that game, it was like, I think we had something. And then Mitchell got hurt. And then eventually Mitchell, went hurt, and then Deebo had to run a lot more. But they found a big identity on their team, and I think this is a big game, because this was like I said, a game that kind of springboarded them last year. I feel if Trey Lance could go on the road week 1 and beat the Bears, that's huge momentum for him. That's a huge motivating factor. Like people aren't talking about that. And if Trey Lance goes out there and has a phenomenal game, people are going to forget about that preseason game because NFL. The way it works, people have a short memory span, a very short memory. And if he goes out there and dominates this game, Smitty, on the road, week 1, home opener for the Bears and a NFL opener, and they went, everybody's going to go, oh, Trey Lance is the guy. And we'll forget about everything we've talked about over the last couple weeks since that last preseason game. I'm telling you. And you're right, because last game was a preseason game, and they didn't have everybody out there, especially they didn't have Trent Williams. Like, it was a whole different story, and Shanahan's not going to throw out his, big plays. He kept it vanilla. He kept it basic. So Trey Lance goes out there, dominates the Bears week 1, everybody's in love with the guy, and the whole narrative changes. And right now, the media is kind of throwing shade at Trey. Did you hear about Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated today? He kind of was sitting there and he's stirring the pot a little bit. He had to catch himself. So he writes a little article and he says on Monday Morning Quarterback, he goes, initially Trey Lance was irritated that Jimmy Garoppolo was restructured, and this was totally different from what we heard last week. When he says, "Yeah, I'm cool with it. It's awesome, whatever." Like he accepted it, but then Albert Breer coming in, pulling out the ladle, stirring the pot, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, no, he was upset, but he should be." And then he tried to clarify it. And he goes, "Oh, it's not like he was mad." So he kind of backtracked a little bit, and now he also says that he's worried that Jimmy's going to take over mid-season. I mean, this is the media just trying to stir the pot. It's crazy, and all Trey has to do is go out there and ball and perform.
Yeah, bro. I was watching like a CBS Sports show, and it's just funny the way people talk about it. They're like, yeah, well, when probably going to be by like week 10 when Jimmy takes over, and it's just crazy like how many people just buy into that, like as if Jimmy G re-signing is some, the only thing that concerns me, Shanahan with injury. There's no way Trey's letting Jimmy take the job from him. There's no way. There's zero chance that he's going to let Jimmy take the job from him. But, I would prefer Jimmy off the roster. We've talked about this over and over. But, because I think you can set somebody up better to succeed by doing certain things. So, like, this will be an obstacle for him in a way, because there's going to be a lot of, if there's ever a bad game, there's going to be a lot of media questions and like a big old media circus around Jimmy versus Trey. So it's unneeded. You know what I mean? That's the reason why I don't like it. It's not that Trey can't overcome it. It's just unnecessary media attention that I don't necessarily want going Trey's direction, because I want him to be focused. I want him to not worry about anything else like that peripheral. But he'll overcome it. He did it in college. He had a recruit transfer that was supposed to come over and start over him. Trey beat him out. Trey's first play in college was like a 50-plus yard touchdown run. And everybody's like, okay, well, that settles it. This guy's the real deal. He's the real deal. I can't wait. One thing I hope is that Shanahan doesn't forget about Deebo. And if anybody says, oh, he won't, he forgot about him in the second half of the last game that he played. We give him one touch. So I hope that Deebo and Trey share the lead role on this team, meaning like when the team's on the field, you're not feeling like, okay, this is Trey's team. It needs to feel like it's Trey and Deebo's team, because this team is nothing without Deebo. And Deebo needs to be used like he was last year, not up the gut as a running back, but he needs to be a focal point. Like, there needs to be a lot of design plays for Deebo, and defenses need to be afraid of Deebo, not be afraid of Trey getting the ball to Deebo. They need to be afraid of Deebo getting the ball at the line of scrimmage, just like last year. There needs to be two running threats that are not the running backs, and it needs to be Deebo and it needs to be Trey Lance. And I think if you guys have that three-headed monster of a rushing attack, Deebo from a wide back perspective, Mitchell in the running game, and Trey Lance just scrambling around, how are you going to defend that? How are you going to defend that? So Deebo has to be a focal point.
I agree, Smitty, and I wanted to talk to Deebo about Deebo today. So, good news for Deebo. You guys heard the news earlier. He came back to practice, so that's something we wanted to talk about. Remember, you asked me yesterday, Smitty, and this weekend we kind of discussed it. Do you think Deebo is going to miss week 1? So, good news today. The update was he was back in practice. So, kind of what we expected. The bone bruise wasn't too big of a deal. Obviously, something we got to keep monitoring. I mean, he's a physical guy, so let's just keep an eye on that. But he'll be back, or he was back today. And again, he shouldn't be at risk to miss week 1. And they need to use Deebo, and he is the key to this offense. Like we've been talking about, Smitty, is Deebo paces this offense. And you're right, they have to use him as a running back. They have to use him wide back. They have to get him on the outside. They got to have the threat of Deebo doing it all, like literally everything. They have to have Deebo as that threat, because if they don't, it's harder. It's easier to game plan for the Niners. And now with the threat of Trey Lance running and Elijah Mitchell running, the baby's beautiful, and Deebo running, I mean, this offense is going to be so hard to predict. It's going to be so hard to stop. And you're right, Deebo is the key, man. And it is so good that he's back. Yo, Smitty, real quick, let's take a break. Look at the beautiful baby. Baby Smitty is on the line.
Look, dude, it's so hot in Arizona. We just drove. You saw me driving. I got in the car. We drove. Look how much sweat she's dripping. Look at her hair.
Dripping, she is sweating, man. She's a cute one. How old is she
Hair is
now?
she's on. She turns 2 in November.
2 years old. I remember when she was a baby. She was a wow, Smitty. That's amazing, bro.
Yeah,
Congrats. Dope, man.
yeah. But she's dripping sweat, bro. Like we just got in the
Sweating.
car. I don't know if you can see her side. Her hair on her side is like matted and all wet.
She's sweating. She's sweating. Like Debo's gonna be sweating, doing work for
Yeah,
these next week, man.
yeah.
I'm excited. But yeah, Debo is the key. Real quick, Smitty, I got Vlad coming in. I'm gonna let him in. The quad box
I'm
is
gonna
here.
I'm gonna mute myself while I order food, and you guys
Okay,
go.
sounds good. What's up, my man, Big Vlad? Welcome to the show,
You.
brother. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Smitty muted himself for a second. I'm excited. We got Trey Lance talk. We're going to talk about Justin Fields. I'll kind of share your thoughts on the situation. We're talking Deebo Samuel. He was back in practice today. He's kind of the key here. But let's go. Let's kind of backtrack a little bit. What do you think about Justin Fields and what he said, or what Darnell Mooney said about Justin Fields this weekend? How he's going to kind of get some revenge on these teams that passed up on him. Do you feel like Justin Fields is, ready to take that leap? Is he better than Trey Lance? Is he further along? What are your thoughts on those two guys? And is this going to be a big budding rivalry in the NFL?
You hope that it's a budding rivalry for the Bears' sake, because they haven't had the most luck with quarterbacks recently. I think. Listen, I think there's plenty of room in the NFL for both of these guys to be successful. I think that the Bears aren't as good of a roster right now. They're not built like the Niners. The Niners, this is a 7-year development. This is year 7 of Kyle Shanahan's system and his team. This is the first year coach in Chicago. First year starting, basically a rookie. This is his second year in the NFL for Justin Fields. It's a brand new team, new environment. You gotta temper your expectations there. I think Justin Fields can be great, and I think he can, but it's not like an overnight thing. Same thing with Trey Lance. I don't think we're going to see 45 touchdowns in his rookie season. I hope we do, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have. That's not the expectations I have for him. That'd be crazy. But like. Eventually, I think they have those quarterbacks, those guys have that talent, they have that ability. But right now, this is the thing I'll tell you with Justin Fields, where the Bears have been using him outside of the pocket on both sides. So last year when he rolled out, it would be typically to the right. He would run to the right side of the field, try to catch Mooney down there. This year they've been doing it to the right and the left. And in practice, he's been running the ball, coming out of the pocket and just taking off and running it. And he's been doing the play option. Yeah. So like on both sides, he's been doing the bootlegs on both sides of the field. We're not going to be able to like stack one side of the box and have the extra defender on the right side of the field or left side of the field. I think Justin Fields is going to take a step forward, but I don't think against this Niners defense, man. They travel so well. They don't care who, those guys are nuts.
True. I think this Niners defense is elite, and hearing those things, obviously it's bulletin board material, but a lot of it also too is pre-hype. When Mooney says those things, Justin Fields is going to get revenge on the Niners for passing on. I mean, it's competitiveness, but part of this will kind of ruffle some feathers at the locker room because some of these guys are going to hear that, they see that on social media, they're like, I bet, like Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, these guys take it personally. And last year, as you said, Fields was kind of rolling out one side, play action, run pass option, coming off to the side and running that right side. This year, you're right. He kind of has developed both sides. I think the offense is going to be better for him with the new coaching staff. Nagy was horrible. He was a bad coach, bad scheme. So I think now he's going to take a little step, but he also has to learn those playbook tendencies, the playbook, and learn new tendencies because it's a whole different offense. So you're right. He's still the young guy, still developing in the league, and now he has a new offense to kind of figure out. So I think he will be more dynamic. And you're right, he can roll out to the left, roll out to the right. So we're going to have to kind of not be able to shift the box to one side. We're going to have to play him a little bit honest. And if he could take us deep over the, the top, him and Darnell Mooney have a pretty solid connection. So it's not going to be easy. And we did see last year where Justin Fields did give this 49ers defense some fit. Like, hey, he made Fred Warner a little silly, right? Remember, he put him on skates, and I just remember sitting there, that highlight, they played it over and over and over. That was like his season highlight, man. They played it over. They played it this offseason. So Fred Warner is going to look for some revenge on this game. I'm telling you, man, Nick Bosa, he wants to come out and prove he's a defensive player of the year candidate. A lot of people are underestimating Bosa for whatever reason. He never gets enough respect. So you're right. This is not a defense where I think Justin Fields can have a monster game, but he did play well against them last year. But we have a better secondary. I mean, I'm excited about this game. I got this question from 49er Faithful Forever. I like this. And this kind of brings me to the next topic with I was talking about Darnell Mooney, is he's the guy that said all this, right? He kind of springboarded all this talk in action. So he goes, name someone that scares you on the Bears offense. Does Darnell Mooney scare you? Or does anybody else scare you? Or is there like people that you're like, well, I mean, they're good, but are you scared of anybody on the Bears offense?
No. I think their best playmaker is their quarterback and Mooney, and then Khalil Mack could be something. Montgomery is like he's a thumper. That dude doesn't get tired. You know what I mean? He's not a bad running back, but like this Niners defense, in my opinion, they're elite. They're amongst the top 2 or 3 in the league. Especially that front 7. It's so dynamic. They can play everywhere. Their linebackers cover so well. Like Cole Kmet is nice. That's someone that everyone sleeps on. No one really talks about. Cole Kmet is a nice tight end. But when you're talking about matching up against Fred, Dre Greenlaw's healthy this year. Like, good luck. You know what I'm saying? It's just. It's too much. There's too many. This defense is layered so well this year. There's a lot of pass rush. All the line. Al Jazier's healthy. Greenlaw's healthy. Fred Warner's healthy. Like Ward, we'll miss him in the beginning for that first few games. We will, but I think like you'll see that rotation of Hufanga and all those dudes. They'll make up for it. They'll be okay. I don't think anybody except for Mooney and Justin Fields is probably their best playmaker, right? You would say that.
Yeah, I would say that. I'm not really afraid of anybody. I think Mooney's good. I don't think he's like a wide receiver 1. I think he's good, though. Cole Kmet, I like him, but I wouldn't put him in the top echelon of tight ends. They have some weapons. They have some good players. I mean, I'm not going to be afraid of most of their players. They're a young team. I think their wide receiver 2 is with Dante Pettis. Yo, this is Dante Pettis revenge game, man. I mean, he's coming back. I'm kind of excited to see where Dante Pettis does. I mean, he's going to be clamped up by Mooney and Mosley. But, hey, Dante Pettis, that was a guy we had high hopes for, and he just fell on the face of the earth. He fell off. Just didn't push himself hard enough. He wasn't physical enough to be in Kyle Shanahan's offense. But now, he looks like he could be something decent with the Bears. Maybe he's trying a little harder. But you're right. There's nobody that really scares me on the Bears. But, I mean, they're a young team. They're a few years away. They got a lot to kind of work on. And then, like Alex says on here in the comments, Khalil Mack, he's gone. He's not even there anymore. They lost some players. So they're still a young, very developmental team. Justin Fields, I don't think he's going to have a monster season, but I think he should improve upon, his rookie year. He had a lot of reps last year. He probably learned from those times, although it's a different system. Mentally, I think that helped him. But he's very cocky, man. This guy just wears a chip on his shoulder, and he needs to humble himself a little bit, because even last year he was saying, oh, yeah, this game's easy to me. Remember, he said that, and defenses were like all over the guy. He did look okay during the preseason at times. This year, I think that everybody's hyping him up. All the media is like ready to say Justin Fields is taking off this year, depending on who you ask. But I don't know. I think Lance definitely is in a better position than Justin Fields. It's going to be fun to see this matchup. I just really hope, like you said earlier, that it does develop into a budding rivalry. I want these both to be successful, because last year we were sitting here, draft season, we were talking about Justin Fields, Trey Lance almost every single day. So part of me, I want Justin Fields to succeed. I don't want him to fail, and fall on his face. Part of me did want him on this team, and now I'm not going to sit here and say I want him to fail. Although I do feel like he's just so cocky, man, that he needs to take that back. He needs to chill out a little bit. But I do want to see them both be successful. Obviously, I want Trey Lance to be more successful. So
I think obviously Trey Lance on the better team, right? We went to the NFC. The Niners went to the NFC title game last year. The Bears didn't make it to the playoffs. So you expect him to be better. You expect him to be in a better position to win. It's just I think like people that are writing the Bears off completely, like I think throughout the season you'll see like glimpses of what they can be. It's just it's a matter of like building them up. It's the same thing with a team like the Lions, like that you'll see glimmers because they have Swift, because Amon-Ra St. Brown is a legit receiver. He is legit. And so when you have those players, you'll see flashes. But the team's not all there. Their defense isn't built to like keep the offense on the field. They don't turn over, they don't create enough turnovers. The offense turns the ball over too much. It's just they're not there yet. The Niners, you should see a much more polished team. The defense especially, like this defense with D'Amico Ryans, like you saw it every game. They got better last year. They're healthy now. They were missing players last year and they were looking good. Like you're gonna see a clean defense. It's up to the offense to kind of keep up. The other thing I'd say is Kyle can't take his foot off the gas this year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he can't play this game where like he's playing for 3 weeks from now. Like it's got to be week to week game, like every game. If you're up, there's no need to take your starters out. They need the reps. Do it correctly, and they'll stay healthy. And you see all the videos I send you with the how they plant their feet and all that stuff. That has so much. When you see guys that say like this turf is bad, this is bad. How are your feet planting on that turf naturally more so than the turf? It's how you run on it. Like there's so many more things to it. So like as long as his team can stay healthy, Kyle can't take his foot off the gas. It's got to be all the way every game. Blow them out if you have to. Doesn't matter. Go.
To the metal. You're absolutely right, Vlad. They have to be aggressive. And I think that's the one thing that we've learned from Shanahan is he lets up a little bit. When you're up, you just keep on pound. Don't let anybody try to come back. You can't play conservative after a certain time. Continue to be aggressive. If teams are mad or if they feel a certain way, fucking cares. Don't care about people's feelings because you need to win. Nobody is going to sit there and hold your hand if you lose. Don't hold their hand. You need to be aggressive. And I think that's the one thing I'll agree on Kyle Shanahan. Real quick, hold that thought. I got a lot of questions. We'll continue this. I'm going to take a quick second break. I'm going to put a little timer. I'll be right back. I need to go get a charger so my phone doesn't die, and we can continue this. So give me a few minutes. I'm going to set up a little timer, and we will be back in just a minute. Just give me 1 second. We'll be back. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for wait there. Sorry about that. I don't want to have this live die in the middle of it. So let's get back to these comments. There was a lot of good questions on there so far. So, it's the Charger countdown. You like the little Charger countdown? Change it up. You know what? Better than having to lose the live. I don't want to lose the live. So Let's get to some of these comments and questions. Hey, Peter Parker says, "What up, Rod, Vladdy, and all faithful? 28 more days. I'm at Levi Stadium. I think the Niner fans are super excited. Everybody's hyped up." Re Investor says, "Bears are revamping, rebuilding, not seriously in the conversation. You said it yourself. 49ers in a rout. I think a lot of fans are excited about this game. Think the Niners are going to blow them out. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Again, I think it's going to be a close game. It is a home opener for the Bears. New coach. They're going to be excited. They're going to come out firing out on all cylinders." Senior Hyphy did say we have trouble with running backs like Herbert and the wheel route. Maybe we can discuss that. Do you feel like we're going to have any trouble with their running backs? Because we do sometimes have little challenges guarding those wheel routes, those little screen passes, little dump offs. And sometimes we miss little weird tackles here and there. I think not having Jimmy Ward is going to be a big issue in terms of the tackling department because he was a solid tackler. I did see George Odom miss a lot of tackles in the preseason. So if he has to play a significant amount of time, that might be something to keep an eye on. And I feel like our run defense might take a little hit without DJ Jones. So what do you think about those topics there? Do you think we're going to have any struggles playing against the run early on this season?
If everybody is right, if they did all their due diligence and everything's right, we shouldn't have any problems because Javon Kinlaw's back and healthy, and that middle of the defensive line shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. You have Arik Armstead, who you paid a lot of money to keep, and you got Kinlaw, who you gave up Buckner to keep or to draft. So if those two guys are the guys, the middle of that line should have no issues. They have a bunch of super talent from Kerry Hyder to Samson Ekubon, Bosa, Drake. Like there's too many dudes on that edge to rotate to stay fresh. So if everything is correct and Kinlaw and Armstead are in the middle of that defensive line, and you have all these other dudes rotating and they're and you have Greenlaw, Algier, Fred Warner. I mean, I know Jimmy Ward's the captain. I mean, I know he's a big part of this team, but those three dudes healthy should snuff out any running game. And, that's pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we should have an improved run defense this year. I think that's something we do struggle at times. But I think DJ Jones is going to be a loss. Let's be honest with ourselves. We've been talking about this offseason. Javon Kinlaw, if he's healthy, I think he could come in and make up a lot of, he could make up for the loss of DJ Jones. But that's a big, that's a lot of pressure on Javon Kinlaw. He has to stay healthy. They're going to put a lot of pressure on him, and I know his knees got to hold up. But you're right. If he comes in with that D line, the rotation, Charles and Menahu and everybody else, they should be able to be stout against the run. And the linebackers we have are great, but they also have to be healthy because Aziz has missed some games. Drake Greenlaw's missed game. Fred Warner never really misses time. So we got to keep him to be staying healthy, knock on wood. So I think we can. But they do need to fix some things. You're right, because they're right. They do miss some of those screens. Like the Rams do that shit to us all. That's what they do against us. They always run that crappy ass screen, little wheel route. Always do that against us. So we got to get better in those areas because like teams know what our weaknesses are, and they run it because it works against us. Like they have to fix those things. I think the Niners obviously know that. They watch the film. D'Amico's got to fix the issues that he's had. But I think we have a better secondary this year, and I think that's going to help. We're going to be faster in the secondary. We're going to be a little bit more opportunistic. I think we'll have more turnovers. I'm really excited about the secondary group. I really feel good. I am a little worried about Jimmy Ward. The first 4 weeks, I think we could skate by, but if we have to miss more than that with him, it'd be a little issue because I'm not sure if I could trust Tarvarius Moore through a season. I'm not sure I could trust George Odom through a whole season as a starter. I like Hufanga, but this is a year too. He's not a captain yet, and that brings me to the captain. So Ray Hawthorne wants to know who's the captains. I'm late. Someone fill me in. They haven't picked captains, but this is something I do want to talk about. There's been a lot of chatter everywhere. People are always wondering after the rosters who's going to be a captain, and I know they usually announce a few days before the first game. Last year they did it on September 8th, so they'll probably do it within a few days. Do you have any kind of assumptions? Who do you think is going to be captains? I have mine. I'll ask you first. Who do you think is going to be a captain this year on the Niners? And then in the chat, you guys can comment. Who do you guys think is going to be a captain for the 49ers?
There's 5 of them, right?
They can pick up to 8. You can pick up to 8.
To 8? Okay.
Yeah.
I think you'd put Fred, Trent, Eric Armstead, Jimmy Ward, George Kittle, and that's my 5. I think.
Go 5. Okay, it's tough because I think Deebo. Do you think Deebo should be a captain? Do you think Nick Bosa should be a captain?
I mean, you know what? Here's the thing. For what Deebo did last year, he literally put the whole team. That's the team on his back. He put the team like. So I probably would give him that. But I don't like. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how the locker room is. I don't know how. You know what I'm saying? That's a more of a locker room thing. I think for if you're saying like performance, yeah, probably Deebo, Trent, Kittle, and then Fred, Jimmy, and Arik.
Okay,
6.
that's tough. I mean, and Nick Bosa maybe
Nick
he
Bosa, yeah, he seems like a quiet, like he seems like a stoic, just like a Vader, like Darth Vader, just out in the corner. You know what I'm saying? He's like the Undertaker,
he is, dude. He's chill, man. He's so chill. But on the field, he just goes out there and brews,
savage.
stays to himself. He's quiet. You don't. It's like
Yeah.
listen to the Richard Sherman podcast. George Kittle was on it, and he talked about Nick Bosa, and he goes on the field, he's just like this monster, he's this brute on the field, and then off season or when he's off the field, he just goes and hibernates. He really is like a bear. Like this off season, what he said, he goes, he went and hibernated with his brother in Florida, and they worked out. They came back like, oh, I'm the fucking Nick Bosa. Like, that's what he does. He just goes and hibernates, and he comes in the game, and he's just monster. I think Nick Bosa could be a captain. I really do. Like
You probably can, yeah.
He's the superstar of this defense. I feel like they need to make him like a bigger captain and maybe make him more vocal. You know, maybe he's not vocal to us. Maybe he is on the team, or maybe they're just waiting for him to kind of take that transition because he's been so focused on his game, becoming a superstar, rehabbing from injury. Maybe this is the year he becomes like that captain. I like Nick. I think he could be a captain. Fred Warner, obviously, is the quarterback.
Oh, yeah, and Robbie Gould for that special teams captain.
Yeah, Fred Warner, obviously captain in my eyes. I think he's the general, the field general on that team. Him and Jimmy Ward. And Jimmy Ward's been on this team longer than anybody, so he definitely is a captain. Those are 3 guys on defense. I think Armstead definitely can. You can make that argument. He's been a captain before. He's been on this defense for many years. One of the longest tenured guys. I like Armstead. I think he's a solid captain. The team respects him. He's a locker room guy. Leader. So Arik Armstead could be one. On offense, you got Deebo. Probably is going to kind of transcend to a leader. He's kind of the oldest statesman there on the wide receiver core. I think he could be, especially after last year. Like I said, he kind of carried this team, through the playoffs. I don't think the contract situation's even going to make an issue because they know contract stuff. Everybody's going to handle their business. That's not even an issue. George Kittle, definitely, he's a captain. Kyle Juszczyk, I think he's a captain of this team. So these are all guys I kind of consider that might have a chance to be named. And then you got Trent Williams. I mean, he's the best player on the field. He's the best player on offense. He's one of the best players in the NFL. You need to have Trent Williams. He's an all pro, a legend. So I think Trent Williams can have a chance. You're right. Robbie Gould, older statesman. He's been in this league for a long time. He's a special teams leader. I think Robbie's a guy. And that brings me to my last question on captains. Do you think Trey Lance becomes a captain this year, or is it too early?
I think that's too early. I think the team knows it, right? And maybe they take him. Maybe Tua got it. You know what I mean? You never know what the locker room is. But I feel like maybe that isn't enough. From everything I understand about that kid is like he's like what you think he is. You know what I mean? Like what you see, like it's football all the time. He takes care of himself. He's not dumb. He doesn't do silly stuff. Like he's a good guy. He's trying to get better. From everything I know about him, he's not like a wild boy. He's not out there like thinking he's gonna, take over the world. He's here to do a job and get better. So maybe maybe he is. Like but I just think at 22 years old, probably they
Kind of name him a captain. I feel I see it in 2 ways because it's early. He's a rookie in terms of, he's not a rookie anymore, but he's a first year starting quarterback. First year starting quarterback. He's taking over as QB1, and I feel like captain. You got to be there. You got to kind of have put your time in the offense and kind of earn your stripes. And I feel like, okay, he's 22, he's young, he's just getting started. This is his first year as QB1. I think it would be early, and I think a lot of people agree with that. But on the flip side, if they were to give Trey Lance a captain badge, first year quarterback one, they are saying, "We believe in you. This is your team," and then that ends any squadouche beef, whatever media wants to say about Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, and this would very much tell everybody, yeah, guess what? Trey Lance is the captain of the 49ers. This is his team. So I could see it in that sense of Kyle Shanahan sending a message to the people in the media saying, yeah, Trey Lance is the captain. The team will look at him as a captain, and he is going to be a leader on the team. So I could see them in that sense maybe doing it. But in terms of what captain means, you have to kind of put your time in over the years and really earn that badge. So I think it's a very honorable thing to be a captain on this team. So I don't think they'll give it to him.
Wasn't Jimmy the captain last year?
Yeah, he was. So I mean, I think captain badge.
You think he gets it again this year?
Oh man, can you imagine if Jimmy gets the captain badge and Trey's not, and he's QB1? Now that would cause rifts through the media. Now that's something that we would definitely be talking about. What do you guys think of the chat? If Jimmy Garoppolo was given the captain badge, and he's QB2, I would be pissed. Trey Lance I would be pissed.
If I don't know. I mean, he kind of. I mean, I know it's Trey's team, and I know he's the starter, but like, I mean, Jimmy, Jimmy's been here for a long time, and like the team does love him, and he is a good guy. You know what I mean? He is a leader in that locker room. They do listen to what he says when he speaks. The guys listen. So like, is it bad that the elder statesman, 30-something-year-old veteran quarterback is the captain? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It's wild, though, right? It'd be wild. I don't think that happens.
49ers Twitter would be in shambles, Nia Perez says. I would be in shambles. Can you? We would be here live going absolutely crazy if that happened. I don't think it happens. There's no way it happens. If that happens, Vlad, come on, man. The media would they would lose their shit, dude. Every story would be pot stirring. I mean, come on, man. That's not going to happen. You don't do that. You just don't do that right now. Oh, man. I don't know. That'd be crazy. I mean, I get he's better, the leader of they love him, but you don't do that to Trey on his first season as QB1, man.
Yeah, I think that'd be a little rough for the
That'd be disrespectful to Trey. That would be definitely. Yeah. But if there's no quarterback as captain, it's gonna feel a little weird though. It is gonna feel a little weird.
Yeah, I mean maybe. We'll see. I think it's gonna be interesting.
Quan Boy says instead of quarterback captain, just give it to the other guys that are established, and that's kind of what we said. Like, give it to the guys that have really paved the way, the veterans. So, I mean, some people put in a lot of stock on this captain. So, like, some people really hold it like, oh, he's captain. He means so much. Some people really do. It's kind of a big honor.
It is. No, it's definitely an honor. You know what I mean? It's definitely an honor, but it's also like. I don't think you don't need a certain position to hold the C. You know what I mean? You don't need a quarterback to have a captain. You don't need it.
You don't need it. But I think it gives people a vote of confidence. And I think that would, like I said, if Trey was to get it, I think that would help.
Great for him.
That would be great for his confidence because that would put an end to. So let's talk about this. So we talked about committee earlier. Albert Breer, he kind of was on Monday Morning Quarterback. I think I texted you guys this earlier about how Trey's initial reaction to the news was he was a little upset when he found out about Jimmy. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. Obviously, I mean, maybe he was. But he's 22 years old. I don't really read too much into those little Bleacher Report, Monday reports. A lot of it's just fake news, it's stirring the pot stuff. Albert Breer, he wasn't there. He didn't get a text from Trey Lance. I don't know how he knows how Trey Lance really felt when this news dropped. It's probably assuming, because you would assume a 22-year-old kid that's quarterback one would be irritated that, okay, they just brought, Jimmy Garoppolo, the guy you're supposed to replace, back. I mean, it's assumptions, but it's a logical assumption. So that would end all this little talk that, oh, yeah, Albert Breer says Trey Lance was a little frustrated when he found out the news, which is, it's opposite of what Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, and Kyle Shanahan said last week, and John Lynch. Obviously they want to paint a good picture, but they said everything was cool. They talked to Trey. He said it was awesome. But again, Albert Breer says he was a little irritated. So it would definitely put an end to that talk, that there's friction, because I think the media is going to roll with this. They're going to continue to say, oh, yeah, Trey wasn't happy, because if he struggles, the media is going to really hammer in on this little story. So I hope he does good, because then the media can just shut up for a little bit. And I hope he outperforms Trey Lance or Justin Fields this weekend, because that's something else. If the media says, "Oh, look, Justin Fields outperformed Trey Lance," Justin Fields is better. He's more ready. Da 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 da. And if Trey Lance, and I talked about this with Smitty, if Trey Lance has a good game, they can just shut up about that preseason game. So
Yeah, I think the reality is the reason they brought Jimmy back was because they messed up the offseason so bad. Uh, that's my opinion. That's from me looking at it as a guy that's been just watching football forever. And I look at it and I go, well, why would you tell everyone what you were doing before you did it? Like, he told everyone that he was going to trade John Lynch before the offseason even started. Then you can't re-sign DJ Jones because that money's still on your books. You can't re-sign Laken Thomas because the money's on your books. You have to wait all that time for Deebo, so the drama's all over the media. You can't lock Bosa up long term until next year now. And it's all because you told everyone you wanted to trade him instead of just waiting it out. And then now it comes to the point where we realize that, especially after the surgery, the Niners aren't getting a second round pick for him. They're not getting a first round pick for Jimmy. They're not getting that. So what do you do? You write up a contract that says, if you play out a season, we at least get a third, right? So at least the Niners get a third round pick. They wrote that in there. And then they said, if we don't start, you only get paid $6 million instead of $26 million. And then if we want to trade you, all those incentive stuff against our cap goes away as well. So everything they did was like, we messed up in the offseason not trading you, so let us make sure we at least get a third round pick out of you. And then at the end of the day, the only reason you're worried is if something goes wrong, right? If the season takes a turn, you lose 3 or 4 in a row, and then you start worrying, is Kyle gonna substitute and turn back to Jimmy Garoppolo? I don't think that happens personally. I think it has to be an injury. But you never know. It would have to be like a really messy season. Like, things would have to look really, really bad.
yeah,
Maybe, an injury, like an injury, and then you put them away just because the offensive line is so atrocious or something. So something like that bad happens. But like, the reality is, you want to just let Trey play and start 17 games and get it all out of the way.
yeah. Whether he's good or bad, they got to let him roll with it. The only way Jimmy should get in is through injury, and we've talked about this during the week. Um, and I think the people that are still kind of on the fence about this whole situation, they're worried, because there is that uncertainty with Kyle Shanahan. If the team's 3-5 again, will they pull Jimmy or Trey for Jimmy? But I don't think so, because last year they were in the similar position. They had 2 quarterbacks, 2 starting caliber quarterbacks, although Trey was still a rookie last year. They didn't pull Jimmy for Trey, unless he was hurt. And Trey was also dealing with a little bit of an injury last year. So I mean, that's something to consider. Maybe they would have kept him in long. Maybe they would have put in Trey if Jimmy was struggling more and Trey was fully healthy. So there is the part of me and part of the fan base and people that are questioning Kyle, because Kyle's a wild card. You can never read. We can't read him.
Yes.
Because you're right. If there is this issue, this is a Super Bowl caliber team, 7 players in the NFL top 100. He's gonna be on the hot seat a little bit. And if midseason comes, let's say they're 1-7, 1-6, but they still have time to kind of win, and maybe they do it. Maybe they do it. We can't predict the future. I don't think they will. I hope they don't. I hope they let him succeed or let him mess up. Whatever he's gonna do, they got to let Trey Lance be Trey Lance. Let him go through this season. This is his rookie season for all intents and purposes. Obviously, it's not his rookie season, but it's his rookie starting season. You know what I mean? Like in the terms of, it's his first year as a QB1. So let him go through his ups and downs. But if they do that, then we're going to have, dissension. And I think that's where the media is feeling. That's where I feel like the media keeps going towards, because they do see the uncertainty with Kyle. So I know as much as the media is kind of stirring the pot and getting a little upset with, the whole situation, and the media is going to sit there and say, oh my God, Trey's not ready, whatever the case is. I think the biggest insinuation is, yeah, maybe in midseason, if the Niners aren't where they think they're going to be, there could be there's still a temptation if Jimmy doesn't get traded and they want to just see maybe he can win games, they would throw him in there. Again, I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think so either.
You have to at least think there's a percent chance, even if it's small. You never know. Kyle's a wild card.
Kyle, like as good as, and I get it, man. I look at all his statistics. His system is super special. That's why I get so mad when they draft running backs in like the top 3 rounds. It's like, what are you doing? Like the system builds the right. His dad knew that. Mike Shanahan knew that. He traded Clinton Portis after he ran for like 16, 18, 1,900 yard back-to-back seasons. He traded him for Champ Bailey. And then he just kept unrestricted free agents. Mike Bell would come in and rush for like 1,200 yards. And you don't even know who that guy is. So like it's the same thing in this system. The system is so good that all you need is guys that fit the scheme. You don't need to over stretch yourself for a Trey Sermon. You know what I mean? So like I think as long as Kyle realizes that and doesn't try to be right, doesn't try to like prove a point with things. You know how he does that? Like, oh, we're gonna do it this way. Oh no, I'm gonna run it this, even though like you're up 12, oh you're up by 10 points. I'm gonna forget about running the ball. You know what I mean? I want to make sure I score another touchdown through the air. It's like, well, dude, maybe you don't. Maybe you just stick to what got you there.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right. Like this system is pretty well manageable, and I think they know it, to a T. Kyle Shanahan is definitely taking what his dad did and adding to it, editing it, and putting a twist on it. And it's a flawless system. It's worked for years and years. A lot of people adapt this system and copycat league, right? You see a lot of teams implementing what not only Kyle's done, but his dad's done over the years. But Kyle is like, he knows it's his system.
It's the next step.
He knows 10 steps ahead of everybody trying the system.
This system is It's Bill Walsh's system. Bill Walsh was the first guy that was doing 3-step and 5-step drive. Before it was either you're running the ball or you're running 7 steps back and chucking it like the Raiders, just airing it out all the time. Bill Walsh was the first one that was like, no, we're going to scheme routes and we're going to get the quarterback to quick release. And then Mike Shanahan was under him. Then he takes that system to Denver and he adds the motion plays in the offense. And now Kyle's taking it over back in San Francisco. It's all full circle, the NFL. It's all, you know what I mean?
All recycled. People recycle stuff. You're right. Yeah. But Kyle, since he knows the system, it's his system. Yeah. He knows how to be ahead of everybody else. And real quick, Senior Hyphy's he got my back here. He says, Rodgers just using 1 and 6 as an example. I don't think the Niners are going to start 1 and 6. I'm just saying, throwing it out there for an example. If the Niners were to start 1 and 6, first of all, I think we'd all be a little pissed off. There would be a lot of people blowing shit up. But
my God,
if they were, the media would lose their mind, and then you never know what Kyle's going to do. But I think he's got to let Trey be Trey, whether it's good or bad. I think it's going to be. We all know he's going to be solid. We all have high hopes for this team, and I'm excited for everything. I don't think we're going to be bad. I mean, that first game, if he goes on the road in Chicago, first game as QB1 in the Trey Lance era, and he goes out there and wins, and he wins convincingly, I mean, it's going to be great for his mental. It's going to be great for his confidence. This is a huge game this week. I don't think people realize, I know people are like, it's just the Bears. It's his first start in the NFL as the starting quarterback for the team, like the guy. Last year, he got a few starts when he came in as the injury replacement, QB2. This is his season. If he goes out there and wins this first game, it's big. NFL opening weekend is massive, and you ride that momentum. It's all about momentum. It's all about getting those hot streaks. This will do wonders for him. And then next week against Seattle, I know they're not a good team right now this year, and they're kind of on the backslide, and they're a bad team. They got Geno Smith. But it's still Seattle. It's an NFC West division. The Niners have not been able to beat this team for years. If Trey Lance goes out there and he beats Seattle, I don't care who's under quarterback for them, because we haven't been able to beat them regardless. If he goes out there and beats Seattle and they go 2-0, Holy shit! When they start, the media is gonna start realizing, and I think people are gonna be like, "Oh crap!" And then if he can kind of build momentum, and then if they go out there to Denver and beat Denver, and they start 3-0, that is going to be a phenomenal start. I'm telling you, if he wins these first 3 games out the book, that is going to do so much wonders for the man's psyche, his confidence. These first 3 games are absolutely critical. I don't care if they lose week 4 to. I mean, obviously, I do. I want them to win. But if you start 3-0 and you're
And
3-1 after the first 4 games of the season, that is massive. First
it,
career starts as an NFL quarterback.
if he goes 3-0 to start, okay, so check this out. If he goes 3-0 to start, that means he's got, let me look at the exact schedule so I'm not crazy. That means he's got the Seahawks, then he's got the Broncos on Sunday Night Football in
Russell
Denver.
Wilson.
Prime time. You
Russell.
win that game, you know what you have next week? Monday Night Football against the defending Super Bowl champion Rams at Levi's Stadium. That, like, if he can get 3-0, his confidence is going to be built. Like, he's going to know that he belongs in the NFL. You know
And
what I'm saying?
not only that, Vlad, that 3rd game against Denver is against the dreaded Russell Wilson. Let's be honest. Russell Wilson owned the Niners, right? If Trey Lance,
Mr. All
obviously
Day.
not just going to be Trey Lance, but if the 49ers can beat Denver with Russell Wilson at the helm, holy shit, man. This man will be reveled pretty highly. I think this is a good first 4 games to really like test the barometer. Obviously, he'll get better as it goes on, but if he can start off on a very hot start, man, it's going to just jumpstart the season. You always want to get off to a good start. Obviously, last year the team didn't, right? They were 3-5. But if we get off to a good start, I mean, young quarterback, he'll just get more confident and get better. Obviously, he's going to have some ups and downs with him. This is a very, very important critical stretch right now because these first 4 games can really hurt you or hinder you, or help you because if he gets off to a slow start, it's going to take some time to build that confidence. It's going to take some time for it to turn it, and build off that. These are tough games, It doesn't matter who you play against, right? It doesn't matter who you go up against. Any given Sunday, man, any team can rise to the occasion. And you throw last year out the window. Like, yeah, there were some teams that were shitty last year. They might be good. Like, every year there's teams that go from worst to first. So you can't sit here and predict things on week 1. You never know. You just got to go out there and win.
He's got Denver Sunday night, the Rams Monday night. Then after the Panthers and Falcons and Chiefs, then you have the Rams again. Then you have the Chargers again Sunday Night Football. And then the following week, the Cardinals Monday Night Football. We're prime time a lot, dude. They're scheduled to be primetime games a lot for the Niners.
This is a big, that's why I said these first few games, they're no fluffy games.
Dude.
I know
it's
the Bears
bright
are
lights.
Seattle, but it's NFC West. You have to win these games. Like, you don't want to lose a game to Seattle early on, even though you could have beat them. Like last year, we should have beat them both times.
Yeah.
Lost. Like, you don't lose division games, no matter who it is. Like, there's been times where the Niners have won 2 or 3 games in the season, but they played their ass off against Seattle and then the Rams and Cardinals, right? It's the division games are tough. If we can start hot, it's going to really do good because we have a tough schedule. You're right. And these are prime time. A young quarterback in the spotlight. It's not going to be easy. It doesn't matter who you are at quarterback. Primetime games, everybody's watching you. There's a lot of pressure. There's heightened, the pressure goes higher. So this game against the Bears is super important. We have to get off to a good start because that's going to be a snowball effect. The confidence will be great if we can get this win, not just for Trey, but the rest of the team. And we got a lot of youngsters. So big game against the Bears, man. And again, it's not going to be easy. We're going into a road game, home opener for the Bears. You think they want to lay down and lose this game? No, they want to go out and win. It's a new head coach, man. It's a tough game.
And it's especially when you have when teams are like this, like teams that aren't supposed to be good, right? The Bears aren't supposed to be a playoff team. So when you have teams like this, when the season's early and everybody's healthy, that's when they're going to give you their best shot. They're going to give you 100% early, no matter what. So like you can't have it what happened with the Lions last year when they almost got back into it. You know what I mean? You can't have that kind of stuff happen. That's why I say it's so important for Kyle to like he's got to really pay attention this year, like and pedal to the metal all the time. Like they were preaching all gas no brakes a couple years ago. That's what he needs to be doing. All gas no brakes.
Yeah,
Let it loose. I know, like I get it. We're gonna run the ball a lot. That's why, like, I temper my expectations with Trey. I know, his agent Smitty thinks he's gonna throw for like 6,000 yards this year, but like I temper my expectations with him because I know Kyle's gonna run the ball a lot. He plays a lot of control offense, so I don't think that's gonna change. We're just gonna see deep field shots, dude. Danny Gray, you're gonna see Ayuk's gonna take. He's gonna take downfield shots with these guys for sure, but it's going to be a lot of running. If I saw people asking, do you think it's better for Kittle to be a receiver to help Trey, with those quick passes and quick releases, or do you think it's better for Kittle to help with this beat up offensive line? What do you think about that?
That's a good question, and I think that initially Kittle needs to help out with the blocking. I know people aren't going to like that answer. I know he needs to be out there in the receiving game. It's going to help, especially tight end is a young quarterback's best friend, security blanket. But I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of uncertainties on this O-line, and I think that if Kittle can come out there and Kyle Juszczyk can come out there and kind of help and be that extra lineman like they usually do, I think it'll help because I think the biggest key to these next few games is running the ball. They have to establish it. Like you said, I think they got to run the ball 35 times a game to win, That's Niner football. Smash them in the mouth, control the clock, and just pound it down their throats. And then open up play action, open up that deep passing game. I think it has to start with that run game, and I think that Kittle's going to be important in the blocking game. Yeah, sure, he should be a receiver a little bit. I think we all want to see him be that receiver. We all want to see Kittle go out there and get unleashed, but I think he has to be used in this running game as a blocker because there's definitely questions on that O-line, right? We don't know how McGlinchey's going to be. How healthy is he going to be? He got a very young, right guard, Spencer Burford, even though I love him. He's young, and there's question marks all along this line. And new center, Jake Brendel, he's never started at center in his life. Alex Mack, big shoes to fill. I was rewatching that game against Chicago from last year. Man, Alex Mack was making some phenomenal, he was a big part of that win. And just as the season progressed, Alex Mack was a big pivotal piece, like that touchdown where they just shoved the pile. You see Alex Mack just shoving everybody in that end zone. Alex Mack was so important. So center is going to be a big issue, and I think that having Kittle and Juice out there blocking is going to be a big difference maker.
I think you're going to need him to do that until someone on the offensive line steps up. I think that they believe that. I think that's why they're so not worried about filling any needs. Like I don't think they're gonna go out and make any trades right now or go sign any free agents. So like anything major. I mean, like I know they did some small signings here and there, but I don't think they're gonna do any big splash moves right now. So like I think they do feel some level of confidence that one of their young offensive linemen 3-4 games into this is gonna pick it up. You know what I mean? And figure out maybe it's Burford, maybe it's Banks, you know what I mean? But like they have to believe that because otherwise if this line is as bad as it can be, like because it could be really bad. We could legit have one real starter in Trent Williams and a bunch of what's going on here, guys. So like if it's as bad as I think it can be, like it's as bad, like on the real bad side, there's no playoffs. There's none of that because they're not going to be able to move the ball. They're not going to be able to protect the quarterback.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about that O-line and blocking and setting everything up. That's the first key to the game. Game's won in the trenches, and it'll give people like Marcus Robinson, who's in the comments, all the fuel for his casual takes, the guy that thinks the team is good, but Lance is no good. You got casual fans like that think they know about Trey Lance. He's not ready. Trey Lance is sorry. Justin Fields is better. You're going to have those takes out there, a lot of trolls in the comments. But, at the end of the year, when it's all said and done, I think Trey Lance is going to prove a lot of people that don't believe in him, wrong. He's a good young quarterback. They just have to protect him, and they just have to make sure that run game is stout. And that's it. Once the run game is good, it'll be fine. Because look at this. Last year, they went to the NFC Championship it's not like Jimmy was out there, a world, but he wasn't out there doing anything very, special, spectacular. They had a great defense. The defense got better this year. They had a good run game. The run game looks like it's going to be improved this year. Again, the O-line is a question mark, but they have a defense that pretty much carried them through times, and the defense got better. So if the defense is better this year, I don't see how they miss the playoffs this year. They just got to stay healthy.
Yeah. Like the team is overall better, right? Like we believe that they have to believe that they upgraded the most important position on the field. Period. We got better at the most important position. It's, can this guy stay upright for 17 games if the O-line is as bad as it can? It's at the low end. I'm betting that they believe that one of these guys is going to step up, and I'm sure I really do believe, maybe we don't even know his name yet, but maybe one of the dudes in the O-line does take the big step and becomes a starter and fills shoes, but we won't see it until the Bullets are live. We don't know what Mike McGlinchey is going to look like. We don't.
I'm really worried about that right tackle spot because, again, I know he's a great run blocker. He is a phenomenal run blocker. Like, people give him crap. Run blocking, he's top 5 in the NFL. Like, I'll be honest. Pass protection, he's always been kind of mediocre at, and now he's coming off a major injury, torn quad. We've talked about this injury a lot, Vlad. And now he's got knee irritation. He's had knee issues in his career. I don't think it's going to get any better. And he's coming in through this season after rehabbing. There's a lot of questions. I don't know who's really going to be able to step into that right tackle spot. I want Dan Brunskill maybe, but he's also having some issues with his knees, hamstring issues. So there is question marks. Jalen Moore, he's a backup tackle, but he's also coming into the season that had an injury in the offseason. He's got a leg injury. And then you got Colton McKivitz, who last year was a guard. They switched him to tackle. How good can he be? He didn't look too hot this offseason. So right tackle is an issue right now. I know they got some depth in the practice squad, but it's not like they're guys that are developing.
Yeah.
So tackle, to me, is a critical factor moving forward. Because, again, McGlinchey is great in the run blocking, but
that's where, like, when I say these things, like that Jimmy G is going to start games for the Niners this year, I still believe that. I still think he's going to win games for the Niners this year, because if this line is as bad as I think it can be, and you have this 22-year-old just getting his brains beaten in, and now we know that Trey Lance's his criticisms that are his accuracy, right? His quick release, it's not there, whatever. That's Jimmy's forte. So if this line can't protect him and can't keep him upright, and he's just getting battered all day, the smart move would be take him out of harm's way, put Jimmy G in, get him quick release and whatever down the field, and see what happens. I think there's a good chance of that happening if your right tackle can't go, if your right guard's not there. Dude, like Aaron Donald makes mincemeat out of really good offensive lines. You know what I mean? He cheese grades really, really good offensive lines. What's he going to do with, I get it. I like Spencer, I get it. But, like, dude, we have a tough division. There's tough defenses we play. We have a real 16 days, 3 games. Like, yeah, it's going to be tough.
Tough, man. That's tough. That's a tough.
And if you have a young kid getting hit, like, that's what I worry. He gets hit a bunch. What does that do for his confidence? How does that help him long term? What if he gets injured? What if something happens? Like, is that worth it? If this line's as bad as I think it could be, put Jimmy in.
You think they're going to put Jimmy in, man? Dude, just because.
I'm just saying, if the line's as bad as it can, if I think it can be, like, if it's, let's say it's the worst line in the league, it's not going to be, because you got Trent Williams and they'll figure it out. I'm not saying it's going to be. I think they're going to be fine. I think they still win 10, 11 games this year. That's what I believe. I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, bad season happens for the line. Would you rather have him continue to take hits and maybe not look good?
Learn. That's what happens with young quarterbacks. It happens to
them.
But
with this roster, do you take that chance, or do you have to win now? It's 7 years.
That's the point of the season, right? It's the whole point of the season. You let Trey go out there. You let Trey be Trey. If he fails, he fails. If he does good, he's going to have some ups and downs. He's going to have to learn how to play against a bad O-line. Like you have to, or with the bad O-line, like, you have to let him. Just because Jimmy's there, just because he had the quick release, doesn't mean he just okay. He could. He's an insurance policy in case of injury. Again, if they put Jimmy out there and Trey's not hurt, that's going to mess up his confidence. You don't just throw Jimmy out there. I get it what you're saying. Like he makes up. Jimmy makes up for having a bad because of the quick release. But they've invested so much in Trey Lance. We know the weapons. We know his skill set. They just have to run the ball and establish that run game. And if he struggles a little bit, that's okay. They're going to have to take those because that's what happens with the young quarterback. And then they realize, I think, well, maybe we should have put a little bit more investment on the offensive line. But look at Joe Burrow last year. I mean, he had Jamar Chase and him were on fire, and they didn't have a great O-line. Obviously, they upgraded this year, but I think Trey can kind of succeed, even though they have a porous O-line compared to what we expect, right? But I think as the season goes on, they'll gel and they'll get better. That's what we hope. But I don't think you just put in Jimmy because okay, his quick. If that was the case, they would have named him the starter.
Kyle.
Yeah, you can never you can't trust Kyle. He's a wild card. But I definitely think that this is Trey's team, and you let him be Trey. And if he succeeds, he succeeds. If he fails, you let him roll with it. Let him learn. He's only going to learn from that stuff, So he's only going to learn from that.
I hope so.
And
I think it's going to be a good year.
I don't know. Imagine Jimmy though with the bad O-line. Just because he's got the quick release doesn't mean because he takes a lot of sacks. He makes a lot. He takes a lot. He runs right into.
No, I don't. Listen, man. I'm with you. I don't want to see Jimmy. I don't want to see him anymore. I'm good. Like I got it. I get it. I want to see what Trey can do. I'm just saying, if you have Kyle Shanahan as your head coach, and the O-line's not looking good, and the kid's getting hit a bunch, maybe we lose 2 or 3 in a row. Kyle might, man. It's Kyle. Like he might.
Yeah.
Might. Dude, he second guesses more than anybody.
I don't think he will. Again, I hope they don't. I don't think they will. Again, you got to let Trey be Trey. This is Trey's team. And if he truly means it, if he's truly sincere to everything he said, then you can't.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope. I think what you're going to see is a good week 1, a good week 2. Like you're going to see him build. He'll have his ups and downs. I don't know where the Broncos defense is. It could be good. It could be bad. We'll see. It's going to be a good game. High altitude. You know what I mean? That's going to be interesting to see. But like, I think overall, he's going to have a good year, and you're going to see all the potential. I think we're going to – I believe that the team wins like 10, 11 games. 12 games would be fantastic, right? 12-5 would be amazing. There's a good chance that the Rams regress. There's a good chance that we win the division. The roster's that good. I'm just saying hypotheticals, like worst-case scenarios, if this offensive line isn't great and we lose a few in a row, I'm not going to put it past Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah,
not until he shows me he won't. Not until he shows me he won't do it.
He's got to prove. You got to, but I see what you're saying. If there's a struggle, there is that wild card of Kyle, pulling the wool over eyes. And again, we've talked about that. You don't know what Kyle can do, but I feel like him and John Lynch, they pretty much tell it as it is. Like as much as we want to sit here and say, oh, they don't. They have pretty much told us everything that's going to happen this offseason. So I feel like they've been sincere. I think I could trust them. I don't think that they're going to do anything wrong. And I think they're going to let Trey be Trey. And, again, this O-line definitely is going to be something that we have to worry about. Like I said, I think he could kind of overcome this with the weapons they have. But like Jason Ellis says, Burrow got sacked over 50 times. Like, he did get sacked a lot. They didn't have they upgraded it. But Burrow still had a good season. Coming on ACL, he was sacked a lot last year. Rookie season, he was, pummeled. But he's a good quarterback, and I think he was able to overcome that stuff. And if Trey's a good quarterback, he can overcome it. Josh Allen in his first season, he didn't have the greatest rookie season, and they made it to the playoffs, and he improved, right? I think if even like Josh Allen did his first year as a starter, I think we'd be happy with it. If they make the playoffs and he at least, competes and shows that he's gotten better over the year, I think we'll be happy because then he'll learn from this as he's learned from everything. And I think Trey is a guy that it takes him a little time to get going. You've seen him in the games. Kind of starts a little slow, and then as the second half comes, he's a whole different person. So I think he just needs a little time to warm up. Just needs the reps. But as he continues to grow and play, he'll get better. But I don't know. I think 11 wins. Let's see. Any bold predictions for the first game of the season? Any big time, predictions? Who's scoring touchdowns? Who's scoring the first touchdown? What's the final score? What are your thoughts on this game?
I think it's going to be a bit of a rout. I'm like it in fantasy land. If I'm saying like I hope we see 4 total touchdowns from Trey. I hope we see a nice rout, like a nice 31-17. You know what I mean? 31-14, just like garbage time touchdowns maybe for the Bears, but the Niners just smother them. Defense smothers them. Trey looks good. 4 total touchdowns. Maybe runs one in. I don't care who's catching them. I hope everybody eats, but like I just hope it looks good. And I hope deep. Oop, I think we lost Raj. Raj, looks like we lost you. Oh, people. Oh, looks like we lost Raj. I think that's a wrap, everybody. We'll catch you this week. Follow Hot Takes Flat. Follow our SF49ers on Instagram. Oh, he's back.
Sorry about that.
Oh,
Sorry.
he's back. I thought we were done. I was signing off to him. I was like, follow me, follow Raj. See you later.
No. We're good. We're good. We're still here.
No, that's what I hope. I just hope he looks clean, no injuries, 4 or 5, like, whatever. I'm not gonna say 12 touchdowns. I hope he scores 15 touchdowns. But I hope he just looks clean, looks good. Defense smothers him, and we just go home with a big fat dub. This game really shouldn't be. It should be a statement to the NFL that we're for real. We're not pretenders. This isn't like are the Niners going to be good this year? Ooh, is this going to be no. Just put a stamp on it. We're for real. Let's go home.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Niners win this game. I think it's going to be closer than many people expect. I think it's going to be like a 21-10 type game. I think that's what the final score will be. I mean, it's a road game, like I said. I think the Niners got to establish the run game, pound the rock, let the defense do its thing. I think Trey Lance will have a solid game, maybe 2 touchdowns. I mean, I think he could blow up against this defense because the Bears don't really
do.
But again, it is a road game. You got to take that into consideration. There might be some jitters. Be a little nervous out there. But I think 21-10. Bold prediction, I think I get Brandon Ayuk's going to be like the big time performer this week, and Elijah Mitchell. I think Elijah Mitchell runs wild. I think Elijah Mitchell's going to win.
So. I hope I like this Jason Ellis. I think that's Ellis. Kinlaw. I hope Kinlaw eats because it's a prime game for him to eat. They should focus all their attention on Bosa. They're like the NFL should probably be sleeping on Kinlaw. I hope so.
Again, if he's healthy, this kid's gonna be. He just has this. He has the talent. This guy looks like he's in phenomenal shape this year. I mean, a massive transition in his body. He looks prime for a big year. If he can stay healthy, he's gonna dominate. He's gonna eat him and Armstead in the middle. It's gonna be scary. It is gonna be raining this weekend in from what it looks like right now.
Yeah.
So that might definitely be a factor. Make it a little bit lower scoring, defensive battle type game. So I don't think it's gonna be too high scoring. Run game is going to really be the key. I think Elijah Mitchell just runs wild.
Eats. Yeah, if you play fantasy football, start that Niners defense. Start Elijah Mitchell. If you're looking for a spot flex, Ty Davis Price or Mason, I would even throw those guys in because the run, like Raj, like you said, they're gonna run the ball like 35, 40 times.
Yeah, I think so. 35 rushing attempts at least. Book it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited. But yeah, that's it for today. We'll be live again the rest of the week. I got Bear Down on Friday. It's gonna be a fun show. We're gonna do a preview show on Friday. I'll have you guys tap into with Bear Down. So hop in. We'll look at that. It's gonna be good times. Appreciate the support, everybody. Hit that like button. Marcus, hey, no hate, no hard feelings, but don't disrespect and talk shit about the guy that's running the live stream. Just a pro tip for you. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, be nice.
But at the end of the day, you're on my live stream, so. Love you, buddy. Have a great weekend. Have a good rest of your week and get ready for the weekend. Guys, have a good rest of your day.
Let's go, boys.
Let's go. Appreciate all the support. I love you guys. Have a good rest of your day.